In this video, we're gonna revisit what an 11-cent XRP could look like in terms of what the rest of the market conditions are gonna look like, what some of the indicators would have to show to find an 11-cent XRP. Now, that sounds horrible if you bought, well, anywhere above where it is right now, but then again, that's an amazing buying opportunity, and there's a lot of people that are actually rooting for Bitcoin to get to sub $10,000 because that represents one of the biggest buying opportunities in existence for the crypto world. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some things to keep an eye on. Also, Grayscale is suing our favorite organization, the SEC. I'm going to tell you why they're suing the SEC and what Gary Gensler is now saying about Bitcoin and why it kind of doesn't exactly jive with what the SEC is saying about these Bitcoin ETFs and how long this lawsuit that Grayscale's putting together could actually take. And of course, we're looking at the price of Bitcoin, which is now under $19,000. We're going to take a look at some of the analysis. What are some of the prices that we're going to be looking forward to in the next couple of days to couple of weeks? And in some other crypto news, FTX, which is Sam Bankman-Fried's cryptocurrency exchange, is making a bid to buy BlockFi. I'm going to tell you how much he's buying it for because it's at a 99% discount right now. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, we are covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button and please join the Late Night Grind community. Also, if you would do two things, I'd really appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button and watch this video all the way to the end. These really are the two best things you can do to support a YouTube channel. So with that, let's jump into it. Okay, so like I just mentioned, Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX is making a bid to buy BlockFi, which BlockFi is basically what you would call either a Ponzi scheme at worst, or basically a crypto's version of a money market account, in which case they were supposed to be paying out ridiculously high fees on your stablecoin staking. They're facing solvency issues and also some pressure from the SEC, including a $100 million lawsuit. Well, FTX made a bid to buy them for $25 million. Now, just last year, they were valued at over $4 billion. Well, Sam Bankman-Fried knows a fire sale when he sees one, so he is jumping in. At the bottom, this is another way that people are buying the dip. Buy a blockchain company that looks like it's ready for some revamping at extremely low prices, and then wait for the bull run to commence. All right, so now I want to talk about what Grayscale is doing, because they're actually going after the SEC. They're going after Gary Gensler. They're going after basically the SEC rejecting Grayscale's attempt to create a spot Bitcoin ETF. Now, there's been a lot of companies that have filed applications with the SEC to get these spot Bitcoin ETFs approved. Now, the SEC, which, by the way, actually approved an ETF which does the reverse value of Bitcoin, which basically is rewarding people for investing in something that is essentially shorting Bitcoin or betting against the price of Bitcoin, but they won't approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. And by the way, the difference between a spot and a futures ETF that exists now is basically a spot ETF is an ETF that actually buys Bitcoin. Futures is basically just betting on the price of Bitcoin. There's no actual purchasing there. But regardless, Michael Sonnenschein, who's the CEO of Grayscale, launched this lawsuit against the SEC literally hours after their application for a spot ETF was rejected. Now, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is one of the biggest trusts in all of the crypto world, but it's a futures trust along with all of the others. Michael Sonnenschein, he actually added in an interview that he thinks the SEC is actually discriminating specifically against people going after spot Bitcoin ETFs. Now, of course, you have Gary Gensler's comments the other day naming Bitcoin a commodity, but it took him a year to do that. So, are we going to start to see some pressure, some legal pressure from massive outside financial entities in order to get a spot Bitcoin ETF approved? Well, it's something to watch. But one of the analysis that I watched said this legal case could take years to resolve, and all the XRP holders said, "Yeah, we know." And speaking of Bitcoin, right now it is sub $19,000. And it's looking from some of the technical analysis that I watch as well as do myself, it looks like there is at least a double bottom of 17,500 heading our way. Whether that happens in the next several days or a couple of weeks, it looks like it's heading in that direction. There's too many factors that look bearish for Bitcoin. Now, what would it actually take to drop below that? Well, it would take a lot more selling pressure. However, if it does break that support of 17.5, 14,000 is the next price target that traders are looking at. Now, this is one indicator to keep in mind because like I said in the beginning of this video, we're going to be talking about what it would take to get an 11 cent XRP. And here's what it is. Back in March of 2020, we had the COVID crash. Bitcoin was about $6,000, and that was when XRP was worth about 11 cents. You could snatch up 11 cent XRP and you can get a lot more of them than you could, say, a year ago when it was well over $1. So it looks either like you're losing on your investment or that you're entering a massive buying opportunity. So either way you look at it, an 11 cent XRP, if we get to the same metrics that we were in March of 2020, which again could happen based on Bitcoin being at maybe a $7,000, $8,000 level, which some of the technical analysis shows that it could definitely get to, well, you're going to be getting an 11, 12 cent XRP. So here's what the main thing is to look for, and I said this on one of my previous videos, the DXY, which is the dollar index. Right now, the technical analysis that I've watched on the dollar index shows that it is very capable, not likely, but capable of hitting 110, 111, 112, or even higher from some of the technical analysis. So what does that mean? Well, right now, as the dollar goes higher, Bitcoin typically goes lower. So right now, the dollar has been waffling around 104.1 to 105, and you've seen the Bitcoin drops because of that. Right now, it is essentially the inverse of the dollar. So whenever the dollar does, Bitcoin does the inverse. And of course, the rest of the crypto world, most of the crypto world follows suit, at least to some degree. So that's going to be one of the biggest indicators you're going to want to look for. So you're going to keep an eye on the Fed. You got to keep an eye on Treasury announcements. You're going to keep an eye on what inflation numbers look like, because there's a lot of different things that are going to cause the Fed to keep pressure in raising interest rates or completely flip-flop, which is what some people are now saying, that by the end of the year, they're going to be lowering rates again and printing more money. So there's some crazy analysis on what that would actually do to the markets, but I'll get into that later. So right now, if you were looking for an 11 cent XRP, it is absolutely possible. To me, that represents a huge buying opportunity. You're going to be needing to look for a $7,000 to $8,000 Bitcoin. You're also going to be needing to look at a dollar index of probably 110 or higher. So if that's something that you keep an eye on, make sure you put it on your trading view charts and keep an eye on that. So as we wait for some big decisions from the judges in the Ripple versus the SEC case to come down, I wanted to look at some of the historical price actions and what we could be looking forward to towards the end of this year, and some indicators to keep an eye on. Make sure, if you're not subscribed to the Late Night Grind channel, I cover the Ripple versus the SEC case very heavily. Right now we're waiting for 2 decisions to come down from the judges about some of the things that are very big in this case. So if you want to follow those stories along with any of these other stories that I cover, make sure you subscribe to the Late Night Grind YouTube channel. Also, I put up polls up there in the community tab on my channel. You can go and visit and take part in those polls. I love it when you guys answer all these questions. In fact, in the next video, I'm going to be going over some of the results that I just saw on a couple of my recent polls. Some very interesting results that you guys put up there. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.